Hello and welcome. My name is Frank Fischer and this is DeepCode Nibble number 3. This time we want to have a look at a Python example, and we start at the DeepCode AI website. So literally, if you want to follow along, just go to DeepCode AI, open it in the browser of your choice. The next step is to click here on My Dashboard. So you can open your dashboard and you can enter the repository that we are about to look at now. So we're doing this. And up here in the search bar, we are now entering John PC explain NOAA weather. And you can see it is found as a GitHub repository. And if we click on here, we actually open this GitHub repository in DeepCode. That means DeepCode takes a clone of that repository, runs an analysis over it, and presents us the results. And as you can see, I did this before, so it's cached, and the analysis time was 3.255 seconds, and it has a few criticals and a few warnings. It's not a big project, but it shows the exact thing I'm looking for, so I was choosing this one here. So the one we want to have a look at is this one, trying to subscript an object of non-subscriptable type bool. Let's have a look at the error, and then we can also see what's behind it and what makes it a bit special in that regard. So we're opening it. And as you can see, the text says trying to subscript an object. So if you hover over it, you see this is the object, alt layer, of not subscriptable type bool from false, literal, will lead to a type error. So subscript of bool, if this is a bool, obviously this wouldn't work. The index operator here would not work on it. But where does the bool come from? And if you hover over it, you see there is the pointer that shows us where this is, and it's like alt layer equals false. So here we have the option in the code that alt layer will become a boolean. Before, it seems to be a different type. So it seems to be something that might be subscriptable, but with this, for sure, it is no longer subscriptable. So the point is, what we found out here is that there is a path in the code that may lead to the fact that we are trying to subscribe something that is not subscriptable, in this case, a bool. And this is one of the bugs that normally is called Heisenbugs. You know, it's really hard to follow this bug. It's probably that you don't have this as a dynamic test case, so you might not see this in testing. Obviously, they didn't see it in testing because otherwise they would have changed it here. And if it happens then in the wild, it is super hard to find out what exactly happened, because you have several things that need to come together, you know, having several variables in a certain value format, blah, 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 so that this problem can literally appear. So this is a really, really nasty bug to find in testing. And you see, this is one of the big pros that you have when you're using the static code analysis in that regard, because it literally looks at the code as it is. It doesn't run through the code. It covers all possible paths through the code. Another thing that is quite interesting is this specification mining, and you are invited to learn more about it by clicking here. The basic idea is, what you don't see here is the amount of projects we found this bug in, because this suggestion actually was learned by specification mining. So what we did was we looked into the specifications that are behind the languages that are behind the APIs to find rules like this one here. And we also started to automate this process. So the idea that we have is we are not only learning from looking into open source and seeing how open source projects reacted on problems they found, and how they changed that. We're also looking into documentation, into sometimes documentation of APIs and stuff like this, to learn what it should look like in reality, and then implicate this as another rule, so that you have both, so to say, ways of getting new rules and more rules. So what I wanted to show you here was, number one, this type of problem in Python, because you can change the type of a variable. By the way, not advisable. Don't change the type if you want to flag that something is invalid or empty or something like this. Stay in the type that you already had. So I wanted to show you this, and I also wanted to show you the way that we are learning suggestions, not only from looking into code. We are also looking into specifications and documentation and stuff like this.